Welcome to my presentation, Transforming Education, Understanding Micro-Credentials. Today, I will be introducing an activity that I created for my 8th grade ELA class that is a badge-based micro-credential, and it is what you call an ELA quest list. So I'm going to introduce the tool first, and then I'm going to go over some of the aspects of micro-credentialing that you might see as I go over the tool. So this is an ELA quest list. It is meant to go up to level 100. I created this quest list as a way to get my students to improve their literacy. So kind of the same way a parent would grind some broccoli up into a sauce for fries or something like that to get their kid to eat. It's kind of like that. Like, I wanted something fun, and I wanted students to be reading and writing and creating without realizing they're learning. So this tool was created originally by Alice Keeler, but it was very minimum. Like, a lot of the things I had to learn was, I'm going to go up here and go to show formulas. I had to learn how to code some of these things in or copy them and change the code so that I can add in more badges. I had to kind of understand what it was saying. So that was a bit of a learning curve. Excuse me. So I also changed all of the titles that were here, all of the descriptions to match my class, and I added in links where students could either get to an activity or submit an activity. Some of the activities I later told students to add to a portfolio, but towards the end of the year, I realized that it would just be easier for all activities to have a screenshot in their portfolio. So I think, like, for next year, that is something I'm definitely implementing when I implement this quest list. Usually, so when you read the essay, you'll see that this was used in an instructional model from quarter one, but it goes throughout the entire year. There are so many activities here, it cannot be done in 1 or 2 quarters. I mean, it possibly could before the end of the year, but my goal is for students to just do as many as they can and enjoy the process and have options in what activities they choose to do and what they don't. And I also wanted to give students an alternative to maybe the activity we're doing in class is not your favorite activity, but there's a similar activity on the quest list, and that student can get credit for that activity as well. Going back to, again, mastery and not having students show multiple ways what they already know. So it goes up to level 100, and I created a few more badges. Originally, it did not go up to level 100, but I needed it to for mine. And then I went in and added my own badges. A lot of the ones that you see with the text at the top and bottom and the 2 stars are mine. And I borrowed a few that automatically came with the template. So I changed up the difficulty levels so students can have an option to choose what's easy versus what's hard. And it was like a way of being honest with students, like, hey, I won't lie to you. When you take iReady, it's a process. So activities like that get a 5-star. Just like Brain Pop, completing activities in Brain Pop takes a little time, so that would be, a 5. Or completing your League of Literacy Worlds in Minecraft is a process, so it's a 5. So students have titles to go by. They have descriptions that explain to them what they are doing for that activity. And some of them are as simple as write your name on a Springboard book. Some of them are add a YouTube video to Padlet. And then you have a few more where it gets a little bit different, like do a movie book where you read a book that has been made into a movie and write an essay comparing and contrasting it. This may not be an activity that a student chooses to do right away. Okay, my computer froze for a minute, but this may not be an activity a student chooses to do right away, but when it comes to student choice and voice, the option is there. Okay, so these are just a variety of different other type of badges I created that were non-circular, which were kind of fun to make. I used Google Drawings to do that. As you can see, it says that many of these activities can be completed in class or at home. This is where I also say I would do a portfolio for it, for students to kind of, whether, let's say they did read The Parable of the Sower, which we read as a graphic novel last year, maybe dedicate a page where students can just do a creative page or reflect on it or create a poem based on that page. So that is what I mean when I say I'll introduce portfolios a little bit more with a quest list. Last year was my first year trying it, and although one student continued it throughout the year, I think it is something that I would like to implement more this year. Okay, so here in this second notch or tab, students can see the badges that they can earn. And I will just say that I created all of these badges that you kind of see popping up here, but I will say that these are only seen once they are marked off. So if a student wants to check them all off and show just to see what they look like, it is possible, but it is not really meant to be checked off until it is completed, and then it will show here. So students can show their badges here. And students did a really good job of doing that last year, showing me which badges they earned. Here we have the level badges. As I said, it went up to a certain number, and as you can kind of see, it looked like it changes after a while. So I think around number 32 or 33, maybe 31, I had to start creating my own level badges, and I created them up to level 100, which is the highest level. Here are directions for students that need them. But it was more so for the teacher. It is more so for the teacher. But either way, I keep the directions just in case students can use them too. And then here, students should not need this section, but this is where the badges are all created and held into like a space. And I deleted the ones that was created by the original person. Like I said, I used a few, but the majority of those were deleted. But as you can see, all of these are ones that I created, and I had a lot of fun doing these. I had a lot of fun doing these. National Board Helpers, escape room badges. So I'm going to go back to a few of those activities again, because a lot of the activities that are done here will be reflected in the discussion about the microdential badging. So again, I have an activity where students can create a sculpture of a character, create a radio ad for your book, read the book The Alchemist. No need to take a quiz or anything. It's just about reading for leisure. Students can look up and complete brain pop activities based on different authors and themes in our classroom. If they check out books from the library, from online, from people at school, they earn badges for that. They earn badges for playing Stardew Valley. I mean, you can essentially say there's a badge for everything. There are a lot of activities in Clever that I notice students have access to but don't usually use. So I put a lot of those activities here as well. Even if a student just views it once this year, you know, that's an easy badge to earn. I have badges for Genius Hour, badges for using Class Notebook and creating your first blog. So there's just a variety. And then written badges for the Springboard book that we use in class, badges for completing diagnostics in class, for getting all A's per quarter, for being an email expert, for your learning to use Google Slides. So for even digital literacy, they receive badges. And completing my MyPath lessons, doing an online college tour or a real life college tour. I mean, I just wanted to give as many badges as possible, and that is why I also say that this can go over the entire year. Some of the things they read are also nonfiction, so there's a lot of literacy here that is both literature and informational text. I think that is the full tour of the quest list. I'm going to go over here and discuss a little bit of what you may or may not have noticed inside of this tool. So the core elements of a micro-credential include digital badges or certificates representing specific skills or competencies smaller than traditional degrees, can be earned independently, stacked towards larger qualifications, and validated through assessment. For the sake of time, I'm only going to go over the purple areas along with the text that I use to support it. So the tool that I created uses digital badges. It represents specific skills or competencies. It can be completed and earned independently, but there may be activities where students want to bounce ideas off of classmates' heads. They can also do that as well. And it is validated through different forms of assessment, which we'll discuss in a few. The text says the use of digital badges can assist learners by truncating assessments through their learning trajectory in order to document their progression. A recent study has shown that the absence of assessments and badging programs have left students dissatisfied. This study explored the utility of implementing digital badges in higher education settings by interviewing individuals who have successfully implemented related programs at their institutions. So, as stated before, I feel like my students really enjoy sharing badges, and I feel like it is also my job to create a place for them to demonstrate their learning. Even when students completed certain activities, they would bring them to class and show me, but I want students to also be able to reflect and look back at what they created using a digital portfolio. So because we already use portfolios, I will be creating a section in OneNote where students can submit the work for their quest list. For competency-based learning, the tool that I created uses the educational approach where students advance based on demonstrating mastery. It focuses on specific skills and knowledge acquisition. It replaces traditional time-based progression and allows students to move at their own pace. As I stated, this can be done throughout the entire year. This is not something that I'm putting necessarily in a grade book for students, but I will just be checking in with students to see where they are with the quest list. Text say progress is evaluated based on whether learners demonstrate they have acquired explicit or measurable competencies that have been communicated to them clearly, as seen in the quest list. This includes the ability to apply that knowledge in practical situations such as their day job, which right now my students' day jobs are just being students. Learners cannot move on until they have mastered prerequisite skills, which could be split over a number of micro-credentials, which is what you can see in the quest list, because as I stated, it's a variety there. When it comes to personalized learning pathways, the one that I chose, the tool that I chose, has student chosen learning routes, meaning there's no particular order that students have to do this. They just get to go in and whatever interests them is what they'll complete. Some of these activities can be done in a matter of minutes. Some of them might take a few days, weeks, months, if you will, depending on what type of project is chosen. There are a variety of hands-on experiences, like students can create dioramas, shoebox activities. There's a self-paced progression, so there's no right or wrong level to be at by any deadline. And there are a variety of flexible assessment choices. I'm sure that was seen earlier. And it encourages individual goal setting because students can set a goal to whatever level they want to get to. There is no particular right or wrong answer. Personalized learning opens student pathways and encourages student voice and choice in their education, which can be seen in the quest list. Personalized learning is enabled by instructional environments that are competency-based. By tapping into modalities of blended and online learning using advanced technologies, personalized learning is enhanced by transparent data and abundant content resources flowing from redesigned instructional models to address standards. Again, this quest list is based on both standards and activities that students have access to that they may not know or have been exposed to. It is also described as putting students in control of their learning pace. It is flexible and gives students access to instructional material around the clock. So students are able to access the quest list whether they are at school or at home. It's technically theirs. For assessment, it says that assessment for learning gives educators and learners information about what learners know. This means that educators can target future teaching and feedback to address any areas in which a particular learner needs further development, while learners can determine areas of study that need additional attention. This type of assessment may take place before or during a course and can make a significant contribution to learner achievement and attainment. So the assessments here are performance-based tasks, they're real-world projects, now digital portfolios, and evidence-based validation. There are interdisciplinary competencies as well. Project-based learning, or PJBL, where students solve authentic problems similar to what they will face in a workplace, has emerged as a way to help students develop soft skills in a setting similar to where those skills will ultimately be used. Rooted in inquiry-based learning and constructivist theory, project-based learning engages students with significant problems, requiring them to produce a tangible artifact, showcasing their developing expertise. So going back to the chart, going back to the quest list, like here's an activity where it says students are to construct a shoebox diorama of one of the main events in the book. This is an activity that can help students in the long run if that is something like creating scenes or backgrounds, or even in the writing process that students could use. Another one says make a 6-scene storyboard composed of scenes from the beginning, middle, and end of the book. That is something students could do if they are interested in storyboarding or stop motion films as they become older. They have the opportunity to interview a character, to create a sculpture. So these are some of like the project-based activities that we have: writing and performing an original song, designing a book jacket, that students can do at their own leisure, or even if they want to earn, level up with a friend, they can also do that as well. Again, going back to interdisciplinary competencies such as critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, and as seen, digital literacy. The career readiness integration that this assignment offers is soft skill development and leadership capabilities. I would say workplace readiness as well, although my goal is not to prepare them for the workplace. I just want to prepare them for high school and college. Recognition and credential value. Micro-credentials are highly relevant to current industry needs and emerging trends in various fields. Micro-credentials can be transferable between institutions and are stackable with other credentials depending. The impact of micro-credentials on student learning, knowledge acquisition, and skill development is it strengthens and supports learners and builds intrinsic motivation. To strengthen and support the well-being of micro-credential learners, in respect of identity, educators can draw attention to their achievements, make it clear how learners can support each other, design activities that strengthen the learner's sense of self and well-being, and ensure learners' backgrounds and aspects of their identities are represented in teaching and learning activities and in the resources. So I really wanted that to be a basis for the quest list that I created. And I also wanted a lot of the activities to be open-ended so students can add their own personal touches and identification to the activities they complete. I put that a standardized assessment criteria is required. So I have a very general rubric that I use for the quest list and for many of the activities in my class. So I'm going to see if I can just type in rubric, and I'm not seeing the one that I usually use. It is based on this, but it is typed, I believe, here. No, that is not it. It was a new rubric I made, and I'm not seeing it right now. Okay, but I'll show this one because it's based on the same exact thing. I created a very general rubric so this is a rubric that can be used in multiple ways for tests, for projects, for classwork, and for quizzes. So, and for participation. And it's just based on the 4, anywhere between a 4 and a 0 or a 1. But that is what I use to grade the assessments. This straight to the point rubric, and it is basically the expectations I expect for a test, for a project, for classwork. I use this to grade my students' rubrics. So for a lot of, grade my students' assignments, assessments. I can't make this bigger. Let me see. Okay, like for projects, it says to get a 4, the work must be original work, creative expression. It's evident that the student took their time, including goes over beyond the project expectations. It is clever and unique demonstration of a student's understanding, attractive and neat in design and layout, with no grammatical errors or mechanical errors, engagingly organized, captivating for the viewer or the audience, and it leads group involvements. Even if let's say you didn't do it a group project, it can still apply. Everything else still applies to the projects, similar to what is done in the quest list. Okay, we have a few more left. The implementation challenges and solutions. So the one that I'm using the most is the progress tracking method, and students, as I showed before, are able to track their learning and completed activities and earn badges here. So them tracking it is how they earn their badge. Once they have placed whatever they need or completed the activity or placed it in their notebook and check it off, they have earned their badge and have tracked it for themselves. A few key takeaways and next steps. I want to focus on demonstrable skills. So if I can add any more activities where students are able to show what they know, that is what I plan to do. As mentioned in previous activities before, I really want to lean towards a personalized learning pathway in my class. So that is something that I want to also add to the quest list, or create a specific quest list for personalized learning pathways. I'm still, or a badge system for that is what I'm still trying to figure out. Creating a micro credential system for personalized learning pathways. And as always, my quest list is a continuous improvement process. I don't think it'll ever be just done because, education changes and the years change, our students change each year. I do like the idea of the authentic assessment methods, and as stated before, I will be implementing a better digital portfolio process in conjunction with the quest list. All right, thank you for watching this presentation, and any resources mentioned or references made in this presentation can be found at the end of the essay that this is submitted with. Thank you so much. Bye.